Hello everyone, if you're new here, I'm Alan with Earthglow and this channel is all about sharing the joy of candle making. Welcome back to my part 2 of my Black Tie Barn fragrance oil review. I am super excited to smell the remaining oils, and if you didn't watch part 1, I'm going to have that linked above. You probably will want to check that one out first before you watch part 2. Because this is kind of a continuation of that video. But a lot of the oils in part 2 were the ones that I was most excited to smell in part 1, but didn't. So I'm super duper excited. And if you guys are interested in information about Black Tie Barn and don't already know who he is, I will have his website linked below. This is not sponsored, it's not affiliated, but he does have a YouTube channel. He's probably one of the biggest known candle makers on YouTube, and one of the ones that most all of us on this platform did learn from, and that I continue to find really great content from whenever I'm trying to figure something out that I may be looking for resources from. One of the first ones I'll go to if he does have a video on a certain topic. So we have a number of oils here. We have the Sacred Fog, which that was one of the ones I was most excited to smell. And then the Silk Oak, same with that one. Now the Bandit is like his most popular. And then the Cristal de France, the Graveyard, the Himalayan Orchid, the Marinaro, the Lumberjack, the Pier, the Tobacco Luxe, which I'm very excited for, and the Egyptian Mirage. So yeah, a lot of my favorites here based on the name. But as I mentioned in that video and in all my fragrance videos, I don't look at anything prior to smelling these fragrance oils. I will tell you though, pick out about half of these oils on his website, but this would have been like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I don't even remember what the notes were. I could not even tell you. I've looked at so much stuff since then, but then the other half of the oils he did choose, so I didn't even look at those ones at all, and then I didn't even look at my packing slip that he sent me. But as always, I will be putting up the scent notes on the screen for you all, just so that way you're able to see what the scent, kind of what's in the fragrance or what it's supposed to smell like. But I will tell you what I'm smelling out of the bottle, because I know a lot of you here trust my nose. Oh my God. I'm so excited to smell this one. So anyways, let's take a look at, I think I want to start off with the Pier. Oh, and quick disclaimer, I'm just going to put this up again, as I always do. These are just my out of the bottle first impressions. You always want to try a product in a final candle before you have any final impressions. And something that I really like, you might absolutely hate, and something that you really like, I might put on my fails list. And as I mentioned in my part 1, I will be ranking all these oils from part 2 on my Patreon from my least favorite to my most favorite. So if you're not already a patron, check out my link in the description box to join. I also share all my formulas on there, and I provide one-on-one support. This first one we have here is called the Pier, and based on the name, I'm expecting something kind of aquatic, kind of ocean-like, and nautical. So let's see what the Pier by Black Tie Barn is gonna do. Yup. Wow, this is different though. This has something to it that is different. Several different perfumery notes. This is another scent that people would wear, for sure. It's going to lean more masculine, but this is pretty unisex. Yeah, this is dark, but it's really fresh at the same time. And this doesn't just smell like a men's deodorant. You know what I mean? When you just say like a scent is cologne-like, or it's really fresh and dark. No, this smells like something that is a new take on something familiar. And the name is perfectly fitting, I would say. This smells exactly like you are kind of out walking down on the pier, and you can kind of smell the salt water and the ocean waves crashing on the shore, and maybe there's like a little bit of a storm brewing in the distance. So you're getting those ozone notes, you're getting those beachy notes, you're getting the water, the really aquatic. This fragrance would be like a navy blue if it had a color, I would say. But there's something in this that is very high-end smelling, and I would definitely say is, if you make like perfumes or lotions, that this one would be probably very popular for both men and women, but it's going to lean more masculine, but in the most sultry, like just really classy way, I would say. It's also one of those scents that, like, if you're looking for something that's kind of modern, but also I could see men that are like middle-aged going for something like this too. But this smells youthful, but not immature. And it also smells like something I could imagine, like if you make reed diffusers, or if you make like, you put oil like on your dryer balls. I can't imagine my clothes smelling like this. I think that would be amazing. And I'm probably gonna try this oil out like that, where you just take a couple drops and put it on one of those like New Zealand wool dryer balls that you can get. I think you can find them on Amazon. A lot of places sell them. But yeah, this is really, really good. Jeez. Next, let's take a look at, oh my gosh, we have so many that I'm excited for, you guys. I saved a lot of the ones I was most excited for based on the name. All right, let's do the Cedars of Lebanon. So this oil, I don't know what to expect for something like Lebanon. It's like in the Middle East, so it's kind of maybe on the Mediterranean. My world geography is not the best, but I could picture something that's kind of like Mediterranean for this one. Oceanic, fresh, crisp, maybe a little citrusy. So I don't know. Let's see what the Cedars of Lebanon by Black Tie Barn is gonna do. Oh yeah, exactly what I was thinking of for this one. To be honest with you, I will say, and I just whacked myself in the face with it, this is a little lighter out of the bottle than I might expect. But everything that I'm smelling, this is very wearable as well. You could easily make this into, wow, the more this dries down, this is a fragrance that I would describe as truly unisex too. Like you're gonna have women that want this, men, and everyone in between. This is rich, it's sultry. You're getting like a spiced, like a pepper note to this one. I wouldn't describe it as peppery. It's fresh, it's aquatic. It is got maybe some fig or some type of fruit, very subtly buried in there. And then it's got a rich base profile to it as well. There's also maybe something citrusy on top, very breezy citrusy. But then in the middle, I want to say there's like not only like some ambers, but like some cedars and some musks that just make this so expensive smelling. Next, let's take a look at, should we do the graveyard? Let's do the Marinaro. So I believe this means the sailor or something like that in Spanish. I haven't had Spanish since high school, so I feel like one of those Americans that only speaks one language. I'm not proud of that either. I am working on German though. I do my Duolingo every day. But my Spanish is lacking. But I believe this means like the sailor or something like that. The captain, maybe? No, that would be El Capitan, right? Someone help me. Anyways, the Marinaro by Black Tie Barn. I'm expecting something also kind of aquatic. Fresh, clean, maybe leans masculine. Here we go. Yeah. Wow. Guys, what the heck? This one is a little bit lighter. I will say that. But I'm saying that like for his oils. His oils have all just been like woof in terms of the out of the bottle character. And again, this one does have more mid and base notes. So this one could come out a lot more in wax than I'm able to smell on the strip. But geez, this is good. Again, reminds me of something 1617 would release or something I'd buy from Stone Candles. It smells like a designer fragrance. It's oceany, it's aquatic, but there's something to it that is, again, unisex. Like it's not masculine in a butch macho way, like a cheap cologne that you would get at like TJ Maxx or something, or Bath and Body Works. You know what I mean? This smells like a designer type of a fragrance that would be unisex. Again, something that I might like get from Le Labo in their Eau de Parfum collection. It is lighter though. Like as this kind of dries down, I have to work harder to smell this one. So this may be one that I do try out in wax again for that reason, just because I don't think Wade Thomas has any duds in there. I really don't. I highly doubt it with his testing. So even though I'm saying that it smells lighter, my guess is that the hot throw is going to be pretty good with this one. But yeah, the Marinaro by Black Tie Barn, I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. Next up, let's take a look at the Bandit. Should we do this one? No, I'm going to save this one for the end. This is his bestseller, and I'm very curious what that oil is. All right, should we do the Tobacco Luxe? I'm so excited for this one too. I gotta make you guys wait for something. I'm gonna do this one second to last. All right, let's take a look at the Egyptian Mirage. I also said in my last video, this was one of the ones I was most excited for. I like anything ambery, anything that's gonna take me somewhere, and I expect this to take me straight to Egypt, so here we go. Oh. Okay, I like this, but this is probably my least favorite of anything I've smelled today. It smells like something I've smelled before. And I would say it is ambery, but... Okay, this reminds me, if you've smelled by Stone Candles, not Ambra, but their fragrance marketed as amber. It's very popular. There's a lot of people that like it. I'm not one of them. So I just want to make sure you're very clear on that. I bought a 16-ounce bottle of that oil. This smells exactly like it too, by the way. You can look up the scent notes, the Stone Candles Amber. This, the Egyptian Mirage, smells literally like the same thing to me. I haven't smelled that oil in a while though, but from what I remember, and I could tell right when I smelled this that it reminded me of something. But I gave my 16-ounce bottle to a friend. This was back when I was buying 16-ounce bottles before I had tested stuff in wax, which don't ever do that. I don't know why I did that, because what ended up happening was when I did put them into wax, if the hot throw wasn't where I wanted it to be, I would just take the oil to hazardous waste, which I'm not proud of that. It's really not the best thing to do at all. But, well, actually, I lie. I would offer it to several local friends, and if they didn't want it, then I would take it to hazardous waste. But I'm not proud of that. But that is, honest to God, what I would do if it didn't have the hot throw or I didn't like it once I got it. And this is back during the pandemic when I was averaging like 200 candles per week in sales during like the busy months. And by busy months, I mean pretty much September going through December. And then even through the spring and summer, I would sell easily 60 to 100 candles a week. So I just couldn't keep up. And that's why I started just buying 16-ounce bottles. But it's just not a good practice. Anyway, this reminds me of that oil. But the thing of it is, yeah, I could definitely see this being in like a lotion or a cream. That is how my friend used it. Her name is Cassandra, by the way, with Special Things Skincare. And she fell in love with this oil. And it was a very popular seller for her too at farmers markets. She had, again, the Stone Candles Amber version, but it smells just like this, except Wade Thomas probably has a better price on his than the Stone Candle one. But if that is in focus for you all. But yeah, the more this dries down, it's okay. It's just, to me, it's kind of generic. It's not committing to be like a full-on amber. It's not really smoky. It's a nice kind of mid-level daytime amber. All right, next up, let's take a look at the Himalayan Orchid. I'm very excited for this oil. I think this it really reminds me of something that could be like sea salt orchid, or maybe something that's like a bamboo type of a fragrance. I'm usually a fan of those types of oils, and I know a lot of people are too in the candle world. So here goes the Himalayan Orchid. Well, let's see what it's gonna do. Yeah, this smells exactly like sea salt orchid. Very prominent too. I just dripped it on my shirt. Very prominent out of the bottle. This fragrance is a crowd pleaser. If you don't like it, you should at least smell it and strongly consider why it's not in your candle line. I don't think I've had one person that I brought sea salt orchid to, which is what this scent is, the Himalayan Orchid, sea salt and orchid, whatever you want to call it. I don't think I've brought it to one person that doesn't like it. It's just universally very loved by men and women. Like, I sell mine as Sunset on the Lake. It's in my signature collection. I used to sell it as sea salt and orchid. I mean, I've taken it to farmers markets before. I've had it in my line for at least 2 years. Maybe it's going on 3 years this summer. But yeah, it's just universally loved. It's fresh and clean, but it has like a little bit of fruitiness to it. It has like a freesia note to it with the orchid, and then it has like a tonka kind of musk, sheer musk type of a base. And it throws really well, it wicks really well, and I would strongly consider why you don't have it in your candle line if you don't have it. Next up, let's take a look at the Cristal de France. Now, I'm admittedly not familiar. I think this is a inspired by or a dupe type of a fragrance for something that's really famous. Hello. But I'm admittedly not very familiar with the original. So, if this is what I'm thinking of in terms of it being like a dupe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that it is. So, but I'm expecting something probably Parisian, maybe like a perfume type of a scent, something fresh, crisp, maybe floral. So here goes the Cristal de France by Black Tie Barn, and forgive my pronunciation, I could be pronouncing it totally wrong. Oh, yeah, okay, you guys, I've smelled this way too much, but it's so popular, okay? Like, it's so popular. You will smell this scent anytime you walk into. Mostly it's women that wear it. I don't think I've seen too many men wear this, but this is inspired by Baccarat Rouge 540. This is a really good one too. This might be better. I previously had been using the Simbi version. I'm actually going to be testing this out in wax to see how the hot throw is, because this is a scent. I released this in my limited edition concrete collection as Reverie. And I did do that last year. I made a special vessel for this scent. I've smelled it by a number of different companies, and I will tell you that this one and the Simbi one are my favorites. Simbi sells it as Baccarat 540, I want to say. But I'm going to try out Wade's, and I will let you know how the hot throw compares to the Simbi version. This scent, I used to like it, but I'm just so tired of it. You know how you smell fragrances over and over so much? This is one that you will smell anytime you go to like a women's type of event, or just walk into, I mean, you could probably be walking in Hollywood, like at the Hall of Fame or whatever the celebrity events are, and someone would have this on who's a star. Or, I mean, it's been duped by so many companies. People just go crazy for this scent. It is like a kind of sweeter scent, not headache inducing really, but more of just like a sweeter, sensual, kind of fruitier perfume. And I admittedly used to be really obsessed with it, and it's just because I've smelled it so much that I'm just not into it. But I will probably bring this back, and if this has a really good hot throw, I will, frankly, use the Black Tie Barn version over the Simbi version, because I will tell you, the Simbi one, I did have a little bit of challenge with hot throw. I cured my candles. I was making them with coconut apricot in a 3-inch diameter container with 2 CDN2 wicks, and I would cure those candles for like a month before I sold them, and they still really struggled with hot throw. But it could just be the fragrance as well, and people still really liked it, and even afterwards were asking me, oh, when are you going to bring that scent back? And I'm like, oh my God, okay. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely will be testing this one out, and I'll let you guys know. Let me know if you would like a follow-up video of the hot throw results on some of the scents that I do end up testing out. And I can kind of rate them for you all. I have to kind of find time because basically all my stuff on the website is out of stock right now. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be testing this one out. All right, next up, let's take a look at the Lumberjack. I'm excited for this oil. This one, I'm thinking I'm going to probably be into, just because I tend to like things that are woodier and earthier. But I don't know, if this is like a cologne type of a scent, like a harsh type of a leather, you guys know how particular I am with my leather scents. So, I don't know. Here goes the Lumberjack. Oh. Okay, this is definitely reminiscent of something that I have smelled before. Oh, I want to say it's, wow, this reminds me almost of flannel. But it's like you took flannel and you blended it with something. almost like you blended it with Your Name is an Adverb. Do you guys remember that scent by 1617? This is good. This reminds me of my Fog and Cashmere candle, which is a blend of those two oils. It's a blend of Flannel by the Flaming Candle, which a lot of companies do that scent, with Your Name is an Adverb by 1617 when they were in business, which again is probably not an original to them. It's a scent more than likely that they duped by some designer company, or who knows? It's hard to say. But this reminds me of a blend of those two. And I really like it. It's very prominent out of the bottle. I think this would be really popular. You could do it year round, definitely in the fall and winter. Flannel is one of those types of scents where when it starts to become popular is in the fall, but you can keep it all through the winter and you'll still have people wanting more of it. So this has a clean kind of linen aesthetic, but not in like a clean cotton way. It's more of like a textile way, very much like flannel. But then there's something to this one where I could definitely see it being wearable as well. And that's kind of where that Your Name is an Adverb comes in for this one. Yeah, it definitely leans high end. I'm not gonna call it high end, but it definitely leans that way. It's very, very prominent out of the bottle. I think I'm picking up like some berry notes in here too, kind of buried within the fragrance. And maybe like there's a rich base. I can't tell exactly if it's got some cedarwood, some sandalwood, but yeah, this is good. I'm impressed with the Lumberjack, and I would definitely recommend, if you liked Your Name is an Adverb, I would definitely recommend checking this oil out. All right, we've got 5 more to go, and once again, I'm looking for something that I don't like, because admittedly, in the back of my head, I'm like, these people are going to think that this review is sponsored or that this review is staged, because I've been so positive about like everything. I said I didn't really like the Cristal de France, but that's not because of the scent. That's just because I'm tired of smelling it. A couple of them were a little bit light out of the bottle, but I'm still looking for something that I just hate, right? Like, I'm not trying to be negative, but I feel like you guys will think that I'm literally faking this whole thing if there's not, because I almost always have that. Let's look at the Silk Oak. I feel like this is going to be kind of a tree type of a scent, but in a high-end way. And I do like with the naming how it's very simplistic, but the words that are chosen are very carefully chosen. So let's see what this one is going to do. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I admit, out of the bottle, I'm disappointed by this. I'm getting a very prominent powder note. Yeah, okay, so this reminds me almost if you've smelled like Haunted Mansion type scents, or like Spirit in the Forest, or like Halloween type oils. Sort of like that, but there's something in this that just isn't working out of the bottle for my nose. Yeah, it's almost like the color gray, kind of like you would expect. I might expect from a name like this. I'm gonna smell it from here too. Oh, it's better though out of the bottle like this. That's interesting. Normally on the strip I get more of a balanced version, but there's something that's kind of powdery. It's just not working for my nose out of the bottle. I'm curious how this would come together in wax. It could be that balances out. Because I like aspects of this fragrance. I like how it has kind of like, again, I'm usually into scents that are kind of more Haunted Mansion, Haunted Library type vibe. Oh my God, I just whacked myself in the face with the strip. It reminds me of that. It's very prominent. It's just, there's some like heavy sort of powder note to this one that's kind of like a fog, and it just doesn't work with the fragrance as a whole for me. All right, next up, let's take a look at, let's do the Graveyard. I'm excited for the Graveyard. Now, what I just described in the last fragrance is kind of what I might expect from this one, but I'm hoping that it's not too like powder heavy. I give fragrances a very hard time if there's too much powder for my nose, and I have a nose that just detects that like a dog with a bone. So, and it's all preferential, right? Like some people really like that. Baby powder fragrances are really popular for a lot of people. For me personally, I'm very sensitive to too much powder. So, when I'm smelling something very mysterious from a distance that smells almost like petrichor. Here goes The Graveyard by Black Tie Barn. Oh, wow. All right, you guys. Whoa, this is The Graveyard. Something about this fragrance. This is like you took a petrichor and you put it out at night. And if you don't know what petrichor is, it's like the smell of pavement with rain on it, almost. Oh, this is good. I've never smelled anything like this before. This is a very unique niche oil. I'm gonna tell you that a lot of people are really gonna like this, and probably a lot of people really won't. But in your marketing, you're gonna wanna have some word in there that's very indicative of like something stone or something like the graveyard. I mean, you could call it that, right? But you could also call it like the pavement, or like after the rain, or cobblestone street, or Twilight Alley. You know what I mean? Something that's sort of brings these types of images to mind. Under the full moon. I could kind of see that, but it's more of like it just rained and it's hazy. Kind of like a Twilight. If you've seen the scenes in Twilight, I think that movie was filmed up in like, was it filmed in Washington or something? Somewhere where there were lots of trees and like towering trees, and there were rains that would kind of come down. And this reminds me of Robert Pattinson driving his Audi through, or no, he had a Volvo, not an Audi, but he was driving his Volvo, like arriving at Bella's house, you know, and getting out, and he's wearing like a suit and he's walking on the pavement. It reminds me kind of that, but there's something about it that is kind of vampire-esque, and I really like that. I'm here for it. This is so unique. This has to be one of my favorites just because of how different this is. All right, so we've only got 3 oils left. I don't know if Wade Thomas is watching this or not, but I feel like, Wade, you really sent me the whole damn website. I don't know what I'm missing, but it can't be much because I think I have got like 22 oils. This is really cool though. I'm very, very excited about getting these and being able to smell them all and try them. Because as I mentioned in my last video, Wade Thomas, the owner of Black Tie Barn, he's been in the candle making world as a maker for the past 15 years. 15, 1-5. Like how many people can say that? And he's posted hundreds of videos on YouTube to help out a lot of candle makers who are not only getting started, but ones who have been in the candle making world for like 5+ years, like myself, where there can still be things where I bang my head against a wall, and he's probably got a video out there for it. So I just think it's so cool that now he has a fragrance company, because I know the rigor that he's put into his business and his candle business, and I know that that transfers over when you're a maker yourself. If you are a successful maker, then when you start a fragrance company, like it usually works out pretty well. So anyways, this is the next one we're gonna do, the Sacred Fog. This was one of the ones in my last video I was most excited for. I don't know what to expect. I do kind of expect something almost like the last one, but maybe that was more of a petrichor. I'm expecting something with this that's more spiritual because it has the word sacred in it. So maybe something that's gonna take me to like Tibet or to like Kathmandu or something, where monks are meditating like on the mountain or something. Here goes the Sacred Fog by Black Tie Barn. Oh, wow. You guys. Wow, wow, and wow. This oil. All right, this has to be one of my favorites that I've smelled so far. So for comparison, this reminds me of Kathmandu by 1617, yes. But if you combine it with a tiny bit of their Alistair fragrance, but this isn't like, I don't think he just blended those 2 fragrances. This smells unique. It does smell like it has maybe a cypress note, a frankincense, a myrrh, maybe like some cedar to it. Wow, this is really, really good. This is going to lean masculine, but it is not cologne-like. I mean, really sensual, high-end men would wear this as a cologne. But this is more spiritual than anything. Like I could see this burning like as incense, but really rich incense for very special occasions. This is really, really nice. Wow, this is resin-like, but resin-like with like a tree sap component to it. Well, I guess resin is fossilized tree sap, Alan, but like resin-like combined with things that are fresh, but spiritually fresh, like leaves that are like spiritual. And you're getting like a little bit of smoke to this one, but not a smoke in your hair, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a smoke in your hair type of a scent. And I'm very particular about that. There's something in this too that is ambery, I feel like. And definitely I'm getting the cedar. I'm getting, maybe there's like a, is it pomelo or is it pink pepper? I think it may be pink pepper. And maybe some Palo Santo. Like this is one of the only oils I've smelled that I could tell you has a true Palo Santo note. Whether or not it is in there, I can tell you as someone who has sold Peruvian Palo Santo and burned it in my home for years and years, this really has that vibe to it. This has to be one of my favorites that I've smelled so far. It is a little bit lighter out of the bottle than some of his other oils, but I'm gonna tell you that there's a lot of mid and base notes to this, and that is pretty typical. So my guess is that the hot throw is gonna come through, but I'm definitely gonna be testing this out. And I will let you guys know if you would like a follow-up video, leave me a comment. We have 2 more oils, the Tobacco Luxe, and then we're gonna end with the Bandit, which is his most popular, I believe. So the Tobacco Luxe is one of the ones when I unboxed it, I freaked out. I can't remember if he chose this one for me or if I picked it out. I think I picked this one out. But I love tobacco fragrances. And no, tobacco does not smell like a cigarette smoke. I've had so many people on Patreon messaging me like, hey, Alan, I have a customer who's concerned that my fragrance online has tobacco in it. They ask me if it's gonna smell like a cigarette or something like that. Or at markets, people get turned off by it. You have to educate your customers and maybe don't even put tobacco in the fragrance. But I would say like a lot of people know what tobacco smells like and really like it. And it's definitely a sensual kind of high-end note actually that a lot of designer brands use in their perfumes and colognes to make it smell more elevated and high-end. It's just a rich, sultry note that tends to lean masculine, but it can be in a lot of perfumes as well that are marketed for women. And yeah, I'm super excited for this one. I can already smell something like a foot away that I'm trying not to say too much about, but here goes the Tobacco Luxe. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. This has to be one of the most prevalent tobacco scents I have smelled. This does not disappoint. I've said that about so many oils. It's like a broken record. But no, if you've smelled, I think it's by the Flaming Candle, tobacco and bay leaf. This reminds me of that. But I want to say this smells more high end. And maybe it's just the bottle. I don't know. But this smells like there's something else going on in here. It's really, really prominent. This is so fresh. It's like, I don't know. I could even see this marketed as like hayride for like a fall time collection. But this is definitely something that does it remind me of 1617? I'm gonna put the name up on the screen. There's an oil by 1617 that this does remind me of that they used to have, but this does not smell like an old man. And I think that one kind of did, the one that's on the screen. So it's almost like you took that oil and made it fresher and more youthful. It has a lot of citrus to it, this one. I would say there's maybe some lime and some lemon up here, but also it has a really full-bodied tobacco note with like some bay leaf to it. And then there's a base to this one that might have a little bit of leather or some types of woods kind of blending it out. All right, I do want to say I got some of the oil on the bottle and you can see that the lettering is smearing a little bit and I am surprised by that. It's more than likely, I don't know. I think this would more than likely happen if he's using ink rather than toner, but I could be wrong about that. I will say I am surprised about that. There's a lot of companies though, like Brambleberry's labels will do that. I can't think of, I know Lark fragrance oil, their oils will do that. But anyways, I just wanted to put that out there so that you guys are aware. Just be careful with these oils. It's obviously not gonna hurt your oil, but you may have to kind of make sure that you can read the label, right? All right, last but not least, I'm super excited for the Bandit. Now, this is supposed to be Wade Thomas's best-selling one, I want to say, if I am remembering correctly, and I could be totally wrong, because like I said, I don't consult anything. I want you to just smell whatever I am, and I feel like even by looking at the reviews and looking at the pictures on the website, it gives me too much of an idea of what I'm supposed to smell, and a lot of you just trust my nose and want me to just tell you what I'm smelling. So, I have no idea what to expect. I kind of think I know what this fragrance is though. And I could be totally wrong about that, but I'm gonna tell you guys what I think after I smell this one, and if it is or is not what I think it is. So, anyways, here goes the Bandit. Let's see what it's gonna do. Oh, no, this is not what I was thinking it is. I like this oil. I'm gonna tell you all though, I was thinking that this was gonna be Wade Thomas on his channel has always talked about Nature's Garden. He got me into this oil. Now I can't even think of the name, but I'll put it on the screen. Crackling Birch, that's what it is. He has always raved about that oil. And for some reason, I thought that his bestseller was going to be that oil, basically, a version of it. And it does kind of have some similarities, but this is distinctly different. This does really smell like fall though. And it smells like you're out playing in the leaves. I almost get a lot of woods and earth to this, but also something that is just quintessentially like foresty and has like some winter notes to it as well. I feel like you could do this year round and it would be really good. Like if you have more of an earth kind of apothecary type of a line, you could call this like the tangled oak or oak leaf forest or woodland trail. You could call it crackling birch. It smells like a campfire, and at the same time it smells like you're walking in a mystical enchanted forest. It smells like you are in a cedar closet up north in Michigan, on a lake in the woods. And it also just has this really high-end character to it that I am really living for. Extremely prominent out of the bottle. As this dries down, this develops more and more and becomes more and more cohesive. I really liked it when I first smelled it, but as it dries down, it's just coming together even more. This does remind me a lot of Alistair by 1617, the more it dries down. Very different though. It's almost like it has some of that fragrance blended with a touch of the Crackling Birch by Nature's Garden that I know Wade loves so much. And also just this really wearable high-end quality. Almost like he took some of the Kathmandu as well and put a little bit of that in here. I am very obsessed, and if this smells anything like it does out of the bottle in a candle, I can totally understand why people are so hyped about this oil, because it is also, I would say, kind of unisex, right? Like I could see women wearing this as well, believe it or not. In this day and age, a lot of scents that might be described as more masculine are kind of more androgynous. And this is a very modern, like Le Labo would, for example, release a scent like this as a perfume cologne. They don't gender their fragrances. I don't believe fragrance should be gendered. I think that there's a lot of men, like butch men, who like florals that are really what I would think of as really girly. And there's a lot of women who tend to like the woodsier, more masculine scents. And to put gendered labels on them, I just don't feel like is really applicable. But this type of a scent, I would say, is truly like, I would call it like a gender neutral. It smells really, really luxe and high end and just all around timeless and classic and yet modern and avant-garde. All right, you guys, well, this has to be one of the highest reviews I've given any company so far on the channel, and I'm sort of blown away. A lot of these oils were just really, really I'm not gonna say the word, top notch out of the bottle, and I'm very excited to try a number of them out in wax as soon as I'm able to. I am behind on a lot of restocks on my own products, so this will take me some time, but I am very excited, and let me know if you do want a follow-up video on these. And the one thing I can say is regarding the labels, you know, maybe something that doesn't smear, right? But like, besides that, I don't know what else to say. There's not a lot of room for improvement with these. particularly at the price points he has them at. I feel like it's a really good option for something that is really, with a lot of these ones, high-end smelling. And this comes from someone who purchases a lot from Stone Candles, who bought a lot of the $70 oils from 1617, and who's purchased a number of the Makesy oils that are going for $90 to $120. I've just smelled a lot. I've smelled all of Le Labo's fragrances. I bought all of them. I bought most fragrances from Dior that I'm interested in, and Versace, and Burberry. I mean, I've smelled a lot of high-end stuff, and I can just tell you, Tom Ford, I'm a little bit of a perfumeaholic, cologneaholic, but yeah, you guys, these oils are not playing around, and I will have his site linked below, but again, this was not sponsored, not affiliated. He's not paying me a dime to post this review at all. And he knows for a fact that my reviews are honest on the channel and that I wouldn't post something that wasn't. But his oils are just really, really top notch out of the bottle, and I can't wait to try some of them in products. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and head on over to my Patreon, which is linked in the description box, where I will be ranking all of these oils from my least favorite to my most favorite. Thanks again, Wade, for sending these oils for a review on the channel. Again, this video is part 2, and part 1 had a bunch of the other ones that I did review in my last video, which I'll also have linked in the description box, as well as at the end of this video. I'm sending all of you guys peace, love, and light, and I'm wishing all of you happy candle making. I would like to take the time to thank my patrons for their incredible support.